Close to $1 billion just got deleted from the crypto market in one day. And here's the brutal truth. That capital is permanently gone because we're looking at pure liquidations. Traders who bet big with leverage are watching their accounts get nuked. And what I'm about to reveal in this video is going to seriously open your eyes. Okay, so there's a bunch of things I need to walk you through. First up, let's check out what's actually going down in the market as we speak. Leverage trading? Dude, you might as well be juggling chainsaws blindfolded. The Kobayashi letter just dropped this bomb. Breaking. Crypto liquidations surged to 900 million over the last 24 hours as Bitcoin falls towards $84,000. No headlines or market-moving news, yet Bitcoin has erased over $120 billion in market cap in 24 hours. Leverage is a dangerous game. Though leverage is only part of the equation. So what actually sparked this entire meltdown? China's out here announcing another crypto ban, and seriously, is anyone even tuning into their noise anymore? You've got the world's most powerful economy throwing its support behind crypto while China keeps recycling the same tired playbook. It's basically a joke now. But hold up, do you really think China's behind this crash? Not a chance. What's really going on runs much deeper, and trust me, this is something you need to be concerned about. Look, I've got to unpack a few things with you. Bitcoin first, because it just tanked to $83.9 thousand. My focus has been laser locked on Bitcoin. You already know I've been dissecting every movement on this thing. So here's your weekly chart. Now take a look at this 24-hour period. That sell-off was absolutely vicious. Bitcoin took a proper beating. We're sitting at about 9%, almost kissing that 10% mark. Yeah, I hear you thinking that's pretty standard for crypto volatility. But here's where it gets interesting. Everybody was counting on a massive recovery. Let's face it, the entire market was positioned for that turnaround. But what actually happened? Just wave after wave of selling keeping the pressure on. All right, so what are we tracking at this moment? Simple. Higher lows. That's literally our best case scenario right now. But the real question I'm wrestling with is what triggered this whole mess? Are we dealing with pure liquidation warfare? What's the actual mechanism at play here? And look, when Bitcoin bleeds, the altcoin massacre usually follows. XRP got crushed too. XRP slipped under that $2 level temporarily. This right here shows the 24-hour damage. And check this out, that's your weekly carnage. Nearly every single chart in crypto looks absolutely wrecked at the moment. Why? Because this dump was genuinely brutal. When you zoom out to total crypto market cap, we're staring at roughly a 10% bloodbath. That's north of $307 billion vanishing from the market within 24 hours. But here's where it gets fascinating. I need to jump back to October 10th because that's the exact moment things genuinely fractured. Here's my view. Everything that unfolded after October 10th, this entire mess, probably never happens, and we're most likely seeing a way stronger recovery today if something hadn't seriously malfunctioned on the 10th. You know, we've beaten this topic to death. We've gone down every rabbit hole. Market makers, a massive chunk of them just evaporated into thin air, and somehow it never made the news cycle. Zero official acknowledgement from anyone. The press acted like nothing happened. But October 10th? That's the line in the sand where crypto split into before and after. That single day flipped the script. Tom Lee did come out with his interpretation of what really went down on October 10th. Scott Post delivered the breakdown through Judea. CNBC picked it up. The exact words. Tom Lee says that on October 10th, 1/3 of the crypto market makers went out of business during the $19 billion liquidation event. A straight up third of crypto market makers. That stat needs to sink in for a second. Can we back this up with proof? Not at this stage. Hard evidence is missing. Even so, I'm personally convinced several market makers, probably some absolute titans in the industry, got annihilated, and somehow the whole thing's been kept quiet. The ripple effects are unmistakably still slamming the market though. Take a second and listen to this clip.
So crypto had been a leading indicator for actually most of the last 5 years. But on October 10th, crypto had what I would call Armageddon. You know, a flash event but it led to a liquidation that was never seen in the 15 years history of Bitcoin. About a third of the market makers went out of business that day. Almost 2 million accounts went to zero.
Yeah.
And it was because of a pricing error, what I would call a glitch. And it led to what they call auto deleveraging.
You've definitely made that case that it definitely seems as if there was something in the kind of market maker functioning that got fouled. Yeah. Now, that being said, the reason you can have all those accounts auto-liquidated is because there were that many accounts with that much leverage that got Bitcoin up to where it was, above 120.
Yes.
Right? I mean, so it's not as if it happened in a vacuum.
Yeah. So in a way, it means crypto represents really a very precise measurement of risk appetite, because there's so much more leverage. And that got wiped out.
Right.
That last time it happened in 2022, it took 8 weeks before people sort of touch their toes back in. I think that's where we are. We're near a bottom. But now I don't think crypto leads. Crypto is lagging because it's really the AI that's going to be leading.
Okay.
So this guy's really keeping quiet about the whole market maker situation, isn't he? Just brushing it off like, yeah, it's a glitch, some price glitch. But hold up, let me break down what actually went down here. We're dealing with Binance, and come on, they're the undisputed heavyweight champion of crypto exchanges. Like, Binance has basically cornered the entire exchange market at this point. They've been on top forever, at least as far back as I can track. Think about it. Way back in 2017, they exploded onto the scene, became this massive player overnight. And since then, they've just been crushing it non-stop. Binance is genuinely one of the most powerful crypto exchanges you'll encounter globally, and they've got an iron grip on this entire industry. Now, here's where things get wild. Binance suddenly started flashing this crazy price glitch. Random altcoins across their platform just started reading zero, zilch, and that's basically rocket fuel for liquidations. Because listen, when you get an API malfunction like that, every leveraged trade on the books gets slammed shut instantly. Positions just vanish, liquidated right there on the spot. And that kind of chaos can trigger a domino effect that rocks the entire market in some pretty extreme ways. Now, is that definitely what caused everything? Well, we're still in the dark on that one. Binance has been dumping Bitcoin and other crypto assets like crazy recently. We're talking huge volumes flying out the door. So, who's the power player teaming up with Binance to orchestrate all this selling? Meet Wintermute, a name you should definitely have on your radar. Wintermute runs as a market maker, and let me tell you, these folks are operating at a whole different level. Pop over to their website sometime and see how they describe themselves. Right there, you'll find algorithmic trading. We apply our proprietary, high-frequency algorithms and quantitative strategies across all major trading venues in CeFi, DeFi, and TradFi. Oh, and they're also handling OTC liquidity provision as well. We provide spot and derivative OTC products to counterparties ranging from global financial institutions to crypto-native firms, venture investment, liquidity provision, and incubation. Here's what makes this whole thing super interesting. There's this repeating pattern you can't ignore. Whenever the market takes a nasty nosedive, when prices just get hammered, you can usually trace the selling pressure right back to Wintermute's trading activity. Want proof? Jump back to October 30th. A user named ButcherEasy808 spotted it happening in real time and posted, "Just in, Binance is dumping again the market via Wintermute. Binance Hot Wallet is firing off transactions directly to Wintermute. Solana, Ethereum, Bitcoin, you name it." And we're watching some seriously hefty amounts change hands here. Now listen, I'll be straight with you. These transactions by themselves don't automatically mean selling is occurring. Technically, we're just observing wallet-to-wallet transfers. But pair this activity with the absolute carnage we just saw rip through the market, and suddenly that sell pressure becomes crystal clear. Those same transactions, they're painting a much different picture now. Sure, there's legitimate buying activity happening throughout all this too, but let's cut through the noise. What dominates this data is overwhelmingly sell-side action. And here's where it gets even crazier. Binance isn't flying solo on this one. Multiple exchanges are showing identical behavior patterns at the same time. Then Marty Party comes through with the receipts. Market maker update. Assets were being sent to Wintermute all day yesterday. Here's the summary and the results. Every liquidation level for crypto is mapped out right in front of you. They're all flagged clearly across the chart data. Flip over to this section here, most active entities. These are your absolute Titan level centralized exchanges grinding away during this entire episode. Binance sits at the very top, processing over 1,738 Bitcoin, 34,000+ Ethereum, and an absolutely massive 358,000 Solana. And sitting right at the top of the market maker rankings, that's Wintermute, shuffling around 1,747 Bitcoin and a whopping 41,000+ Ethereum. So essentially, Binance and Wintermute were the main culprits orchestrating this entire mess. Now, I can hear you asking, wait a second, how do just these two players cause such widespread damage? Let me explain how this unfolds. When you inject that magnitude of selling into the system and liquidation points start shattering one after another, it ignites this chain reaction that steamrolls through everything in its path. But hold up. There's another layer here worth examining. Butcher put together this fantastic analysis on November 3rd, and pay attention to the timeline because this surfaces right after we see the market get absolutely crushed on October 10th. Then throughout November, these aggressive sell-offs just refuse to stop, hitting particularly hard during those first few days of the month. So what's unfolding in front of us right now is, let me explain to you how Binance and Wintermute screws the entire crypto market. In the past 30 days alone, 34.5 billion traded between the two. Binance sends 10 to 100 million chunks of Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana to Wintermute wallets hours before every major dump. Wintermute then market sells on Binance, triggering cascading liquidations. October 10th flash crash playbook repeated 4 times in 2025. Wintermute received 700 million from Binance. Spot. Sell walls appear on every pair. 19 billion longs liquidated in 90 minutes. Wintermute buys back at 30% discount. Binance pockets the funding rate fees. Wintermute pockets the spread today. Same script. Binance to Wintermute, 1.14 billion Bitcoin dumped. Result, 1.16 billion liquidations while Powell was still speaking. Retail longs wiped. Whales refill at the bid. This is the exact playbook market makers use to absolutely wreck everyone. We've been banging the drum about this for years. Take a look at these inflow and outflow numbers we're seeing. Pay close attention to the outflow side. Yeah, Binance is part of this, but they're definitely not operating solo here. Coinbase is dumping over 8,000+ Bitcoin. BitMEX is offloading almost 8,000 Bitcoin. Binance is pushing over 5,000+ Bitcoin out the door. But who's really calling the shots at the top of this list? Wintermute, completely dwarfing everyone else with over 9,300+ Bitcoin. This is genuinely shocking stuff. So what's actually going down is the major exchanges and the dominant market maker are running this operation together. They're timing these massive movements in perfect coordination. But here's the absolutely mental part. This whole financial massacre is happening in dead silence. No news alerts blowing up your phone, no dramatic headlines anywhere. We're literally just witnessing mountains of cash getting vaporized while the rest of the world scrolls past without a clue. And that loops me right back to the question nobody's asking out loud. Who's actually pulling the levers on this entire machine? Wintermute, Binance, and these other behemoth exchanges all moving like synchronized swimmers. This is genuinely deranged behavior. All right, that's the full story I wanted to piece together for you today. If this sheds some light on the shadowy mechanics actually driving these markets, do me a solid and crush that like button. Hit subscribe if you're vibing with the content and slap notifications on so you catch every breakdown I release without paying a cent. Seriously appreciate you hanging with me through all this. All right, see you in the next one.